ambitions to come back as well in the future. So it'll be interesting to see where Tom does end up.
That may well play a part in his decision as to where to go for next season, to try and open himself up a route to return with competitive machinery. I think competitive machinery is the key, because Sykes was, it sounded like, offered a ride with the Bonovo team for next season, something that he didn't appear too keen on, and I think the relationship has ended up being fairly fractious between himself and the BMW late on in 2021. It is good to see Tom Sykes back in the paddock this weekend, having missed 3 rounds in a row. One started to suspect that we might not see him in the remainder of World SBK for 2021. He is back on the grid this weekend. As far as BMW are concerned, though, they've wrapped up the signings of Eugene Laverty and Loris Baz between rounds to ride with that Bonovo outfit, and BMW continuing to insist that the 4 riders will have equal machinery and equal opportunities as far as next season is concerned.
Yeah, and it's interesting for BMW to extend and expand their World SBK operation, and certainly Loris Baz showed whenever he came in for 2 rounds in Jerez and Portimao, he's still got that front running pace. So for BMW, they've got themselves lined up with good rider lineup: Van der Mark and Scott Redding on the factory bikes, and then Eugene Laverty and Baz on the satellite team, and that's going to give them a lot of good information, a lot of good data, and hopefully allows them to make that step forward, because what we've seen over the course of this year especially is the BMW can be a good bike in World SBK, but it just needs to make that bit of a step to be a lot more adaptable over the course of a full season.
Yes, and a little bit more consistent. I think the 2 of those will come in together. A little bit of a shame, actually, for Loris Baz to be changing machinery yet again.
Yeah, but for Baz, at least his 1 year in America is paid off by getting back onto a World SBK grid, and that's what you've got to do. He actually did a good job in America. I think there was an expectation that he'd go over there and win the championship, but realistically that wasn't going to be an option, because we've seen all the way through the last few years that the Yamaha is a really strong package over there. The Attack Performance team always do a really good job turning out their bikes for Cameron Bobier, Garrett Gerloff in the past, Jake Gagne this year, and certainly what we've seen all the way through is that it's a challenge to get those results in America. Baz was able to get a lot of podiums, and he finished the season quite strong, but it opened the door to get back to here.
Yes, team, bike, all factors, and of course new circuits as well for Loris Baz out in the US, but he will be back in the World Championship for 2022, and plenty of reasons to look forward to next season, just as we've enjoyed this, and we expect a similar front-running battle to what we've had in 2021. Let's hope.
Yeah, you certainly hope for it, and with Toprak and Jonathan Ray, you'd expect both of them to be very strong all the way through next season. Ducati's going to be interesting. You put Alvaro Bautista back on that bike, you expect to see him very strong.
And we even hear rumblings that if Toprak can manage to seal the World Championship, a certain Mr. Sofoglu is pushing for there to be a Turkish round back on the calendar, and would certainly like to go back to Istanbul.
Yeah, Istanbul. It's been gotten ready for World Championship action again, with Formula 1 returning there last year, so the track looks like it'd be still a fantastic place to go racing, and certainly the atmosphere would be something else. So with a bit of luck, that's something that can happen in future, because the Turkish fans definitely want to be able to see Toprak on a Superbike, Can Oncu, Bahattin Sofoglu as well. There's a lot of good young riders coming through in Turkey.
Alex Lowe's back on track this weekend. Now, he's had a few aborted attempts to return from injury. It's like a demolition derby of a weekend looking back at it. So for Alex Lowe's, tried to come back in Jerez, did a great job in the Superpole session, got up on the front row of the grid, struggled for fitness in the first race and was then withdrawn. Returned in San Juan last time out, that was about a month ago now, and couldn't make it to the end of that weekend either. Two races in one day, proving too much for him on the Sunday. So he returns again this weekend. He's had more time to recover this time around. Remember, when he first injured himself, it was part of that triple header, so it was an intense period, and that was fairly inevitable that he would struggle through that. San Juan also came on fairly quickly, just a couple of weeks after Portimao. He's had a longer rest period. He's also had a surgery since the last round. Yeah,
he was in Barcelona just after Argentina for surgery, and looks like his hand's fully repaired now, and that was one of the big issues in Argentina. Obviously, he's had the shoulder injury all the way through the season as well, so it's been a tough campaign for Lowe's, but hopefully this is the beginning of his recovery as well, up there 4th fastest on the opening run of the day as well. So certainly for him, he's going to want to finish his season strong. Obviously he'll know that the winter testing program is going to start up pretty soon as well, so that's where he's going to be building up towards the start of next season as well.
Am I right in saying he was struggling with some arm pump issues as well, presumably because of the extra forces of trying to ride around those other injuries?
Yeah, there's an awful lot that the body has to take riding the World SBK machine, and certainly if you're a little bit injured, it just pushes those injuries into other areas as well. And this man Leon Haslam was in Barcelona as well for surgery at the same time, so I think Lowe's and Haslam were nearly sharing an operating theatre at one stage.
Yes, I understand they checked it on the same day as well. So yeah, we got the typical hospital photographs that Superbike riders are so enamoured of from Leon Haslam, as he just goes straight on, pushing midway around just into the final sector there for Leon Haslam. So Haslam and Lowe's, two Brits who've both undergone surgery, and both in Barcelona, the favoured place for motorcycle riders to get their work done.
Yeah, Haslam was working on a bicep injury. That's what was holding him back for the last few rounds, so hopefully he's able to show a little bit more than this weekend as well, because we've seen it through the course of his 2 years with Honda. He's been a pretty close match for Alvaro Bautista in a lot of ways, but Bautista in the course of the longer races in particular able to use that X tyre, the super soft tyre, and able to eke out a bit more performance. Pretty honest about it, saying he was a bit disappointed with how it's worked out over the 2 years, but you can see the progress that has been made all the same.
And I think the biggest frustration for him at this stage will probably be the fact that he continues to believe that that bike will win world championships in the future. The problem for him is that it doesn't, because though he's going to be around to be able to see that, at least not riding for the team.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things that's going to be a struggle for him, and maybe for Bautista as well at a certain point in the future, because obviously Bautista is going to Ducati. We know that bike's going to be really competitive. The V4R has been a tremendous package all the way through its 3 years in World SBK, but the Honda package has potential, and it's going to be interesting to see what sort of changes they make to that bike for next year, because they did test a very different bike a couple of months ago at one of the mid-season tests, and immediately were very fast with it. So it's going to be interesting whenever we see them on track for the first time, whether or not they're going to try and make some adjustments to that bike and potentially bring some big upgrades for next year.
As far as Honda are concerned, they are also going to be joined by the MIE Racing outfit, and it's going to be a two-rider outfit for them in 2022. Tati Mercado continues on. I'm glad to see that Mercado's been rewarded for his patience with the team after they sat out 3 rounds in the early stages of this season, and he'll be joined by Hafiz Shireen, so a new name as far as the World SBK paddock is concerned, and of course a familiar face as far as the MotoGP World Championship paddock is concerned.
Yeah, another rider that brings plenty of experience with him, and a rookie in the class. So for Honda, it is actually Tati Mercado is going to be the only rider that they have that's got that Superbike experience. And I have to say, Tati over the course of this year, he's done what he always does. He has some of his impressive performances. Jerez, he looked really good. Portimao as well. And certainly you would hope to see Tati get the rewards for the hard work he's put in, because he has done a really good job to help that MIE team bring their package forward.
Yes, he's one of the riders with most appearances in World SBK without ever snagging a podium finish, and I think that will be the target for him in the future. You get the impression that you've never quite seen him on the most competitive machinery to give himself the best possible chance of moving forward, but he is a capable performer, and that's why he keeps getting signed up over and over again. But it does tend to be with those smaller teams. Second stint here